Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Dadas Show, coming to you from KBC Studios here in Nairobi. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. Now, as our name suggests, the Dadas Show aspires to promote the spirit of sisterhood and solidarity. And we do this by creating an open and a safe platform for women to discuss issues ascertaining to their health and lifestyle, their work, their well-being, their families, and anything that affects them in one way or another. We also take an opportunity to celebrate and acknowledge formidable ladies who have taken leaps and strides to better the lives of Kenyan women. To us, these are our trailblazers. On this Trailblazer episode, I am joined by a wonderful lady who has come all the way from across the ocean to make such a huge impact on Kenyan people's lives. Her name is Laura Manyi. Welcome so much to the Dadas Show. And she has committed her life, her well-being, her finances, her know-how, her expertise to offering support to amputees, sometimes literally. So to find out more about her, you'll have to wait till the break. But for now, please join us to keep this conversation going on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can also join us on our newly launched Facebook page at Dadas Show KBC. We look forward to hearing your feedback, your questions, your opinions on this and any episode that we might have aired before. But for now, let's take a look at the following feature.
The World Health Organization estimates that 1.5 million people have limbs amputated annually, with diabetes and accident being the main reason. The number of Kenyans in need of prosthetic increases daily. Globally, there is an extreme need for prosthetic and orthotic treatment. In addition, the estimated number of individuals living with lower limb amputations is 65 million. Amputation is the removal of all or a portion of body parts. After the limb is amputated, further methods can be applied to lessen complication and enhance the functioning of the remaining part of the limb. To ensure that there is enough soft tissue and muscle covering the remaining portion of the limb, these include shortening and smoothing the bone. In order to reinforce the remaining part, the surgeon then stitches the muscle to the bones. There are different types of amputation. Doctors categorize amputation types first into upper amputations and lower amputations. Upper amputations involve the fingers, wrist, or arm. Lower amputations involve the toes, ankle, or leg. Prosthetic companies have played a leading role in reducing the number of amputees in the nation who lack access to high-quality prosthetic services. Companies that provide prosthetic services are now claiming their spaces to do what they aspire to do to make sure the amputees in the country are well taken care of. Prosthetic companies in Kenya include Gateway Prosthetic and Orthotics, Autobok Kenya, Proth Prosthetics and Orthotic Services, Prothea Kenya, Orthotics Kenya, and Circle Leg. On this Trailblazer edition, we focus on Circle Leg Kenya. The Circle Leg began in 2018 as a student project, manufactures the Circle Leg prosthetic locally as they aim to help one regain independence, self-determined mobility, and comfort in daily life activities. Amputees now have the opportunity to preserve and restore their mobility thanks to high-quality prostheses. For Dadas Show, my name is Miriam Asava.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Dadas Show, a Trailblazer episode, and we are celebrating my wonderful guest in studio today. Her name is Madam Laura Manyi. She gave me a small tutorial on how to pronounce her name. I was using the wrong syllables where they're not supposed to be. But thank you so much, Laura, for making time to join us today on Dadas Show as we celebrate the impact that you are having on the lives of Kenyan people, Kenyan women, Kenyan men, Kenyan girls, in your role, the role that you play, especially in supporting amputees. So welcome so much. I'd also like to acknowledge my wonderful audience who have joined us today for making time each week to come and sit with me as we discuss contentious issues affecting Kenyan women for a better Kenya, for a better tomorrow, for better lives. So asanteni sana. I'd also want to appreciate you at home for tuning in today for this episode of Dadas Show. We really really appreciate your presence. We appreciate your feedback. Keep me engaged on all my social media platforms at Ashiko the host. I am looking forward to your questions, your remarks, your feedback, your critique. We are always looking forward to hearing from you. So to get the ball rolling, I'd want to start off. Who is Laura? You know, tell us a little bit about Laura. What was it like? You know, what was your childhood and upbringing like? Then we can get to how you found yourself here in Kenya.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Thanks a lot, Ashiko, for this invitation. I'm very happy to be here, actually, to share a little bit of my stories. I hope it's going to be inspiring for many.
Yeah.
So I'm Laura Magni, and the name sounds very Italian. So I'm originally from Italy, from actually a very little village in the north of Italy. And I was born, despite like nowadays I'm really all over the world,
Yes.
I really am from a very small village, and I was born in a farm in a countryside, actually, in the same house where my dad and my grandfather were born.
Yes.
And I was living actually with my family. I mean, I only have a sibling, a brother.
Yes.
But I was living until I was 5 years old with my cousins and my aunts and so on. So I think this is very
So it was
similar.
a big family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time together. I was quite shy as a child.
Yes.
Also because I was kind of the little and the only girl of the
Yes.
family.
Yes.
But I really had a lot of inspiration and admiration for the women in my family. I think this comes really hand in hand with the topic today.
Yes.
Especially the first one for sure was my mom. I come from a family that half of it is actually very entrepreneurial, more conservative, the side of my father.
Yeah.
And then the side of my mom, they're all musicians and all artists.
Oh wow, they're artists.
So I came up, when I was growing up, I really had these two worlds, and at the beginning it was a bit difficult for me to understand how to marry them and how to find my position actually in there. But I feel like now, after years and years, I really think it was absolutely an asset and a skills that they gave it to me.
Them.
Exactly.
Yes.
And it's a little bit how I am. I have a very let's say, pragmatic. I mean, I will also go forward I'm an engineer by profession, so I really studied and I really use a lot my pragmatic side, but at the same time I also have a lot of love for art and for music and for dance and so on.
Yes.
So I grew up in this little village, and then I moved into a bigger city to actually do my studies. And until 18 years old, I maybe went out of Italy one time, and I was speaking just Italian.
Yes.
So I come from a very conservative family in that sense.
Yeah.
But I had very inspiring teachers in my primary school and in my high school, especially my philosophy teacher. She's a woman,
Yeah.
and she really started to change my perspective towards actually the world.
Yeah.
So what are my beliefs? How can I actually experience? Really understanding what can I really bring and contribute, and really starting maybe to look at certain standards or certain values that are given by society, by culture, and so on, and thinking, do I really resonate with them, or what I'm really what are really my vision?
Yes.
And these, I think, despite, again, my family is all Italian, is still living in Italy. When I was 18 years old, I said, okay, I'm ready to go. And I left actually my country. I was not even really speaking other languages, but I moved to Switzerland, which is a neighboring country,
Yes.
where actually they speak 4 different languages. And my parents told me, okay, you can go, but you need to study something. You need to start university. And then I decided to study mechanical engineering.
Wow.
And also another environment where there were not definitely so many women.
Yes.
But I thought, okay, it's going to be easier because I don't need so much my language skills. I just need more math and numbers. And I was very good actually in maths, let's say. So I moved to the French part of Switzerland. And there, I mean, I was open to a very international background because there were really people from, I would say, all over Europe and also north of Africa, because a lot of countries are also speaking French.
Yes.
And so I did my first 3 years in mechanical engineering, and then I decided to take a break to start to actually not just study, but also to practice what I was learning.
Yes.
And I moved first to Asia for a year, to Southeast Asia. And they're very interesting. I was studying more environmental and, let's say, renewable energies, and I was very interested into that. And then I was in a country, Laos and Cambodia, where I spent almost a year by working and traveling as well, where there were a lot also of amputees. And I remember there was the first time I really confronted myself with this reality. Not that in Europe we don't have, but of course, maybe not in the same percentage.
Yes.
Then I came back, I did my master. I was really fascinated by the body mechanics, so I actually transitioned into biomechanics. And then there I had the opportunity to go to India for another very long internship.
Yes.
And there I really started to combine actually my interest for, of course, the mechanical part of the body.
Yes.
So, and also the more spiritual side of it. And I started actually practicing yoga and meditation and teaching. And I really feel like my profession really brought me to bring together these different aspects of looking at our body.
Yes.
But in a larger sense, not just on the physical level, but also on different aspects.
Yes.
And this was always a little bit my red thread, I think, during my upbringing and my education.
Yes.
And then I came back to Switzerland, I finalized my studies, and then actually I started my career. Yes.
Oh wow, that's quite the journey. You know, you've been everywhere, and you know it's so inspirational because you're quite young and you're talking about Asia, you're talking about Laos, you're talking about the various corners. And I like what you said about the different backgrounds and the different experiences led you down the path that you're currently on. So I'm very, very excited about that. So speaking of the path that you're currently on, kindly tell us about your professional journey.
Yes. So after university, for a year, I started to work in a big corporate, also in the field of medical devices, because actually after my background in my university, that was the way, let's say.
That's where you were heading, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I realized, no, it's really not an environment that I'm feeling inspired and motivated. That's why I quit. I took a sabbatical of 6 months. I went traveling, I went dancing and really discovering different culture. And then I came back, and by chance I found actually this association that was just starting called CIRCLEG. It was actually 2 industrial designers after university that decided to focus on supporting people with disability, especially amputees, by developing actually a prosthetic leg made initially by recycled plastic.
Oh, wow.
So how to use actually plastic in a way that has very high impact in the world and not on the contrary. And they were just at the end of their university, and they were designers. So they were looking actually for a business person, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try to apply and I'm gonna see if this is gonna work. And after actually a week, they invited me, and I think our career started, and we officially then founded actually CIRCLEG. And so at CIRCLEG, I would say it has changed a lot during the years, even though the core values were always there. Like now it's the 6th year of the organization. And at the beginning, the focus was really like developing a prosthetic system, right? Yes. But then, we developed, especially with the focus of Africa, because we had a lot of connections, not just in Kenya, but in East Africa. So different like partnerships, like it could be hospitals, could be clinics, could be actually recycle companies and so on. So we were coming back and forth from Africa and really understanding, okay, what is really needed? So we really wanted to develop together with the people on the ground, with amputees, with professionals, at the same time in Kenya or in East Africa and actually in Europe. Yes. Because Europe we also could have access to like high-level technology, different labs from universities, different private company. And because we were really like with a social angle, so empowering people and amputees, but with high quality technology, we got a lot of support. And I think this was really like why we managed, especially at the early stage of our development. And I think it's super interesting because at the beginning we were like out of university. So it was an idea. Yes. It was an idea with a big vision. And the big vision actually was freedom of mobility for everyone. And then we realized that mobility, again, maybe it's coming back to our previous talk of like, it's not just a physical, like in order to empower a person, you cannot just give a leg and that's it. You need to really look at the human and at the person. Yes. And we realized, there is such an important component on the psychological level. Like imagine someone that has a trauma or so. You need to, in order to empower someone, you also need to work a lot on this aspect and also on the social level, because you want a person to be reintroduced fully into society. So CIRCLEG, from a very like tech-oriented, let's say, angle, even though already with a social impact, really like broaden up. And nowadays, what we do, it's really comprehensive, and we call it actually holistic approach to rehabilitation.
Approach to all of that.
Yeah.
Which is really fantastic, and I'm excited that we will hopefully soon we will be having some of the amputees here who can just tell us a little bit about themselves and what life is like for them, because I believe it affects different facets of somebody losing a limb or maybe being born without, and of course the psychological aspect is really good. So it's very encouraging to hear that you're involved with an institution that covers to all that. You're looking at somebody's well-being as at the same time you're physically empowering them. So that's really commendable. Now, what has your experience in Kenya been like? You deal with clinics, you deal with hospitals, you deal with people all the way from the bottom till the top. You deal with all sorts of people. But just as a country, what's the country been like for you, coming from all these other places across the world?
So as I said before, at the beginning we were looking at East Africa, and we thought, okay, it's gonna be similar, like Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and then we started actually to travel in different countries, and we realized, oh, wow, it's really different worlds.
Yes.
And specifically, we chose Kenya in that sense because we thought, okay, it's really amongst the country the most developed, especially in the infrastructure, in the developing, in the manufacturing.
Yes.
But also we found that in people there was a lot of energy and entrepreneurship as well, and really like a desire of change. So that's why we thought, okay, Kenya is really a very good compromise. I mean, it's a different culture compared to European culture, but at the same time we can find ways to connect and to really like find a middle ground together. And that's also why today, I mean, I'm originally from Italy. We have the headquarters in Switzerland, but actually the main distribution and actually assembly center is in Nairobi, at Peponi Road 40. And 7 of our team members out of 18 are actually Kenyans.
Oh, wow.
So
that's really nice. Thank you. I mean, let's give a round of applause for empowering, creating opportunities all the way from Switzerland. Yes, please continue. Let me ask you something. You're very heavily involved in the areas of prosthetics and helping amputees. And of course, you've been working with hospital and local organizations in everything that you do. What would you feel? Where would you feel that the government or the institutions need to step up, especially in terms of offering support to amputees?
So maybe not all of you are familiar with amputation and amputees, and so actually nowadays 90% of the amputees have no access to prosthetic care. And this is due to different aspects, I would say. One of these is for sure awareness, but is also because prosthetics are very expensive, right? In the majority of the country, let's say in Europe or in the US and so on, these are covered by the health insurance, and these actually supports a lot to increase accessibility. So I think one of the main things we should really work on more from a governmental side is to increase access to healthcare coverage, the national healthcare coverage for actually prosthetics. Another point is definitely that there are prosthetics in the countries, but the quality varies quite a lot. So you can have a prosthetic that lasts a couple of months, like lasts actually years.
Yes.
So and until you don't have really clear guidelines or like standards
on the production,
on the production, on the quality, this can you think you buy something because maybe you don't know as a beneficial that it will last you forever, and on the contrary, every 2 or 3 months you find yourself going back to the hospitals and actually pay way more because and having other healthcare problem and issues. So another thing is for sure awareness, like talk more about not just amputation, but I think disabilities. There is a big, what we are trying to work a lot on is, let's say, destigmatization and changing the perspective, how people look at people with disabilities. So thinking, okay, it's something that they have and they need to face in their own life, but for that reason, it doesn't make them less than a human, or like than a person. So really campaigns, I think this would be very beneficial if the government would support more that and would focus more on that, on changing perspectives, for example. And then for sure subsidies. I mean, again, you can imagine that often as an amputees, in order to be back to society, to work and so on, is a big struggle. So supporting especially the ones that just got an amputation to have a prosthetics, have the right surroundings, have the right supports.
Yes.
So thinking about programs that could actually support especially the lowest income populations.
Wow, thank you so much. Those are some really, really good pointers. And to be honest, especially the creating awareness, the subsidies, of course, and even including prosthetics into the health plans that people get. So thank you so much. I hope the powers that be are tuning in and they're in a position to actually be able to do something about it. I hope people will educate themselves more on disabilities, not just amputations. So what's next for Laura?
So, I mean, as you see, my life now, it's turning a lot around CircLeg.
Yes.
And I'm traveling really like in different areas because we are, of course, we are present in Africa, but we are trying to open as well the Latin American region and so on. So I'm really a lot on the way. And of course, I think my next step in the coming years is also to give space, not just to that, but eventually also to a family and to go into the directions and learning to really like balance my life, the work life, but also my personal life, and really give enough space to that.
Yes.
So I believe I will not stop traveling, but maybe with in a different way.
Oh, wow. We are honored that at your stop in Africa, on your great journey across the globe, you not only have made such an impact on so many lives, but you have also even graced us with your presence today. And I know you're truly, truly inspirational. There are people who are watching you at home and are thinking, oh, she's so young and she's so accomplished. And I'm hoping that you're inspiring somebody at home to say, you know what, just because somebody came from a small village in Italy where they did not speak anything aside from Italian, did not restrict her. She's been across the whole globe. So thank you so much, Laura, for being with us. We are going to take a small break and then we'll come back for the question and answer session. I am sure there's so many people who in my audience and at home who are jonesing to ask questions to Laura. So please don't go far away. We'll be right back after a small break. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you have missed one heck of a fast session, but don't worry, every single episode of Dadas Show is always posted on YouTube. So remember, you can always catch this and any other episode that we've aired before. Of course, we also welcome you to join us on all social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can also join us on our newly launched page at Dadas Show KBC. So remember, the conversation of the day is celebrating our trailblazer, who is Madam Laura. She has given us a lot of insight. She has given us a reason why we are celebrating her. So welcome to the question and answer session, where we give my wonderful audience an opportunity to interact with our panelists. So to start us off, we have Madam Angela. Angela, karibu sana.
Could you tell us how to reach CircLeg? Are you on socials? And do you have a physical address in Kenya?
So, as I was saying before, CircLeg is based in Nairobi, 40 Peponi Road. But of course, you can also reach us through email, sales@circleg.world. Bit difficult, but we are also in social media. We are actually in Instagram, in Facebook, in TikTok, in LinkedIn.
So if you're at home and perhaps you need in need of these services, Laura has said the approach is not just giving out the prosthetics, but even a more holistic approach. We will definitely share their contacts with you at the end of this particular show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So thank you so much for that question. We'll move on to our next question from Magdalene.
Thank you so very much, Ashiko. My question, well, I'm a prosthetic user, and my question is, what is the cost of acquiring a prosthetic system from CircLeg?
Yes, thanks a lot. Actually, we sell directly to hospitals and P&O centers mainly. We don't sell directly to amputees because, of course, you need also an intermediary, as you know. Depending on the level of amputations, because we fit to below knees to above knees, so the price is actually in between $300 to $600. But then again, this is our standard pricing. Of course, we also work together with different institutions and donors that allows actually to subsidize the prosthetics and provide it to a lower cost.
Yes. That's very encouraging. I like the fact that you're saying you work with people to subsidize, because you're taking into account that the different income levels that we have in the country. So thank you so much for that. Magdalene, I hope your question has been answered. Our next question is from Mr. Emmanuel.
Yes, hello Laura.
Hello.
My question is all about the mental aspect of it. So as we all know, for someone to become amputated, you must undergo a very painful accident, maybe a disease that may turn into cancer. So how do you deal with the mental aspect after you have given this patient the leg? Is it just good to go, or do you have a program that you put them into that help them mentally? Yeah.
That's a good question. Thank you,
Yes.
Emmanuel.
Thanks a lot for the question. A very important one. As I was saying before, we are mainly manufacturer of prosthetic legs. But of course, to offer the holistic approach, we actually work very closely with different organizations and associations that are very strong in psychosocial support, for example. When someone loses a leg, actually, even before amputation, this person should receive psychological support. It's actually in the whole process. So how do we work with that? It's really like to partner with, of course, hospitals, but also with association. And during the whole rehabilitative process, we actually try to bring always the psychological aspect in. For example, we are also doing training for professional, for prosthetists. And whenever we try to actually teach them how to fit a prosthetic leg, especially like a circ leg, we always bring in a person that is very experienced and has an organization on psychological support, so that the different professionals in the field understand the importance of that. And then internally, I think a circ leg, we also have a community aspect and a community manager, let's say, that really like focus on bringing together like amputees and giving like advice or information. Sometimes we really realize that there is a big lack of knowledge from very simple terms like taking care of your stump, for example, or what can you do, what you cannot do, or to just like listening to other inspiring stories. So we also try to bring together in this community aspect amputees so that they can share, but they can inspire and be inspired. And this is already a very important like help for them.
Thank you so much. Emmanuel, I hope your question has been answered. And I think I have to commend you for that, because I think just, different, the people who are born without limbs, the people who get sick and have to lose a limb, there are accidents, there are, people who have been at war. Everybody is dealing with a different psychological battle, and I think it's important, just because the wound is far deeper sometimes than what we can physically see.
Absolutely.
And I'm so grateful that there are organizations that are out there that are actually taking their time to, to offer the psychosocial support that you're talking about. So thank you so much for that. I hope your question has been answered, Emmanuel. Okay, then our next question of the day is from Madam Hope Lovely.
Hi Laura, my question is for those people who are amputees, some they get it from accidents and it's sudden, and some are not capable of handling it financially. Do your organization donate to them? And people like us, can we donate to them directly, or we have to go through you? How do we reach them?
Yes. Yeah, thanks a lot for these questions, because it's actually very important. So as I was saying before, on one side, we really try to work together with donors and big organizations that can subsidize either the full rehabilitation process of an amputee, so you can really like support a person to go from amputation actually to rehabilitation, or even just a part of it, because depending on the income level, actually different people requires different type of subsidies and supports, right? So we're working like that, but we also work with individual donors. And if you come actually to our platform, to our website, circleg.world, you will see that you have the possibility directly to donate. And sometimes, you don't need even to donate for a full leg. Just a part of it is really like supporting someone that maybe in the rural area that cannot afford. So yeah, this is a big focus also that we are trying to foster. So support also from either individual donations.
Wow. Thank you so much. So if you're at home and you would want to donate to this worthy cause, if you'd want to, you want to help SACLEG, especially improve the lives of the people who are financially unable, perhaps to cover the cost of the whole procedure, like you said, from the amputation to the prosthetic to the therapy, kindly feel free to get in touch with them. Our next question of the day is from Joanne.
My question is, how have you used artificial intelligence, or how are you planning to incorporate artificial intelligence in the making of prosthetic legs or prosthetics?
Yes. Yeah, thanks a lot for the questions. So our leg is a mechanical system. So out there are different types of prosthetic legs, right? From very high-tech electronical one that they move by themselves to actually mechanical parts. Mechanical part, it means there is no microchip, for example, inside, no microprocessors. And actually the user is the one that learns how this part that becomes part of his or her body can actually move and can support him or her in their daily life. So as you see, but there is a lot of, I think in the future, more and more actually artificial intelligence will support us in reaching high-tech technology also without necessarily integrated microchip or microprocessors. And the idea is because human bodies are very complex. I mean, each of us have a very different shape and different weight and so on and so forth. So if we can start using that to really tune it even more to the specification of your body, then of course your way of walking and your way of dealing with your daily activities will improve more and more. And then I think there is another aspect that in the future we will focus more and more with artificial intelligence, it's which, when you deal, and this is, I think, a very sensitive topic, about data, because of course you receive from your patient also data, right? Yeah. And then there are very clear regulations, to make sure that you can maintain the privacy and so on and so forth. But if you use actually this data in order to improve the quality of, for example, prosthetic cares or healthcare that you can provide in different regions, and not just because of course in Nairobi it's way easier to have access, for example, to prosthetic care and a certain level of technology, but also to rural access. So to understand actually how to develop treatment also for people that are not necessarily in the urban areas or where technology is very accessible, but also where it's not accessible. I hope started to answer your question.
I mean, the topic of AI always fascinates me, and I believe, like you're saying, if artificial intelligence can be incorporated in some of these prosthetics, then definitely they could make the lives of the people, the individuals, better. But I believe there's always need for regulations and guidelines around the use of artificial intelligence. So I am looking forward. I am a little bit skeptical, but I'm still looking forward to it. And I'm hoping that something will come out that will actually be beneficial to the individuals who it's supposed to be. Then we've got our final question of the day, which is from Diana.
Hi, so you mentioned you've been to 4 different countries. So my question is, out of these 4 countries, which is your favorite? And apart from English and Italian, which other languages can you speak?
That's a nice one. You've been across the globe. Which is your favorite so far, so that we can live vicariously through you? And what are the languages that you speak?
Yes, thanks. I mean, this is a bit of a tricky question to be here seated in Kenya.
Yeah, we have expectations.
No, I mean, I think what is important for me is a country that has a sea, that has good food, good people, and that loves to dance. Yeah. And I think Kenya covers probably all of these points.
We are good. A round of applause for Kenya. We're good in that area, yes.
Yes, and in terms of languages, I speak more or less 6 languages.
Oh, wow.
But not yet Swahili, which is a bit...
We will teach you, we will teach you Swahili. Swahili is pretty easy.
Yeah, this is the next one, maybe the 7th one.
Oh, wow, 7 languages. Oh, wow. I mean, you truly, you keep blowing me away. I mean, you are truly exceptional, Laura. And thank you so much for coming for the show. I want to give you an opportunity to give us, a final word, our takeaway on anything. It could be our conversation of the day. It could be some words of wisdom. As our Trailblazer today, kindly give us your parting shot.
Yes. So I think especially to women, I would really like wish for all of us to really believe in who we are and really like to always keep a certain vision, you know. Then, I mean, life comes in, I feel, and brings you to many different deviations and challenging and so on. But at the same time, having a little bit this visionary view and at the end, kind of being very anchored in what happens in the present moment. So this for sure. And also that the difficult moments, because I had also a lot of difficult moments that maybe we didn't talk so much about here, are really the one that taught me and made me becoming the person I am. And so really like hold on and yeah, keep your dreams alive.
A round of applause for Laura. That is truly inspirational. When you think about the challenges is the fabric that makes us who we are. I mean, I'm also a firm believer of that. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Speaking of challenges, share with me some of the challenges that you have experienced, because we're talking about challenges being the fabric that makes us who we are. So share with us some of the challenges. You did biochemistry. It's a course, it's in a field that is predominantly male. How was that for you?
Yes, exactly. This is definitely a topic of my life, to be actually surrounded by a lot of men, since I'm quite young. And I would say, what I realized is that, of course, men and women have some differences, no? And the challenge was really also during my studies, I was studying biomechanics, to kind of keep the expression of who I am. So I don't need to become actually, or kind of import, let's say, the quality of a man in order to be able to success in my exams or like in my careers and so on, but keeping also the aspect of being very empathic, of being very also vulnerable sometimes, or being very able to listen and to combine it with my technical skills that comes from such engineering studies, for example. So it's really like this dance between, and I think it comes back to what I was saying at the beginning, having these two sides.
Yeah, growing up with the families, yeah.
Exactly, no, that one is very entrepreneurial, very like goal-oriented and so on, and the other one is more about being aware of the complexity of life and bringing also a little bit of art and fun and beauty into that. Yes, and I think this can have actually a very positive impact also in universities or amongst the different like friendship and so on.
Yes. Oh wow! I mean, that's definitely, you know, so it's good that you've mentioned that keeping your individuality was always something that was very key to you, and you do not have to embody. Because we always experience that as Africans, when you're here and it's a lady who's in a field that is male-dominated, there'll always be little comments and stereotypes and stigmatizations. Are you trying to be a man? Are you trying to be this? But I'm happy to hear that, you know, you can be as feminine as you want and still be able to pursue your dream. And even your femininity is what is adding, you know, is an added value to making your career a success. So speaking on, you know, still on the challenges, how has it been launching a company, let alone launching a company in a different country, launching a company just, you know, in a field that has not been explored too much?
No, exactly. Yeah, thanks for the questions. I think because we are 5 co-founders, right? And all more or less in the same age. So you can imagine that we started actually this company more or less after a few years of career or after university directly. So we had a part of our side that was very naive. None of us knew actually about prosthetics, even though there are actually big players in the sector. And at the beginning, so many people were like telling us, guys, you don't even know exactly what you're doing. But I think at the end, this was really one of our a point in our favor, because of course we were always very open to listen and to learn. So we actually try to have a lot of interactions, and we even in our company we have a lot of this feedback culture, you know. We want to receive also feedback where you can improve, you know. But at the same time, this naivety really allowed us to access to new ideas and really, because, you know, when you say, okay, we are building up a company in medical device, so extremely regulated in Africa, which is also a complex market, I would say, worldwide. So we were, and like 5 young people and so on. So I think that really allowed us to really dream big and like achieve our mission and our vision. So.
I like how you look at the challenges as actually like a bouncing board for you. You know, you're not too transfixed on, oh yeah, you know, people, the naysayers are saying you people are too young. They're also saying you have no experience, you don't know about this. You're saying, no, our youth is actually an advantage because you have more ideas, their creativity is still there, you've got more energy, you've got more resilience. So, you know, but let's go back now. You've already showed how you launched the company. How was it to launch the company, not only in a different country, but all the way in Africa, now in Kenya?
Yeah, that was a journey. And again, we didn't do it alone.
Yes.
And that's why also since the really beginning, we actually started to collaborate with Kenyan people. I mean, professionals, both from a consultancy level, but also actually our team members in Kenya. So we really like try to reproduce actually the whole organizational structure here in Nairobi. You know, we have someone that is really dedicated in business, someone in communication, someone in supply chain, and so on and so forth. And we really get support a lot from lawyers or like experts in the field. So for us was really like taking the time to understand how to better found it, but also receive the right input that alone we could have never done it very clearly. So it's a lot this power of collaboration and being open to learn and to exchange. And kind of continuously shaping actually what Circleg is. And I think this is, I mean, not the last challenge that we will face.
Yes.
But
but you're ready for it.
We are ready for it,
You're
exactly.
absolutely ready for it. I mean, I'm also excited for you. So now, back to a little bit of something fun. What are some of the habits that you have noticed that Kenyan people have that have, aside from getting late, we've already established that we are always late, that get you, that you know, are uniquely Kenyan, you know, where if you see that kind of behavior elsewhere, you'll be like, that person has to be a Kenyan. You know, what are some of the habits? I hear we're very notorious for wearing the Kenyan bracelets, you know. There are quite a number of people in the audience who already have them. Like, we forget who we are, where we're from. So, what are some of the habits that you have gotten, that you've seen?
So one thing for sure, can you love karaoke?
Oh, really?
I don't know. This is an experience I had. And watching football.
Yes.
Even from different countries. As I was saying before, saying yes to everything, even though it's not really possible. But I don't know. Yeah, probably many more.
There'll be still so many more. You'll experience quite a number of them. We all, you know, endlessly talking. We know everything about everything. Well, thank you so much once again. You know, let's give a round of applause for being our wonderful trailblazer of the day. Asante sana, that is Kiswahili for thank you very much. Thank you so much for making time to join us, and you're truly inspirational. And I'm hoping that there's a young lady over there at home who's watching you today and going like, you know what? I can do that. I can do that. And I love what you said about focusing on your goals. Focusing on your goals. And, you know, once you are steadfast on your goals, then everything else looks, you know, will not destabilize you too much. Just have your eye on the prize. So thank you so much for that. And also thank you so much for my wonderful audience, for the questions. And for you at home, please share your questions, your comments, your feedback on all our Facebook, on all our social media channels, which is KBC Channel 1 across all social media platforms. And Ashiko, the host, across all social media platforms. And our newly launched Facebook page at Dadas Show KBC. We're looking forward to hearing from you. So we have come to the end of an extremely insightful episode where we've gotten to learn so much for from our trailblazer of the day, and we are really excited to see where the journey takes us. So on behalf of the production team at KBC and our wonderful host today, we want to thank you so much for being with us. We will catch you same time, same place next week. Until then, bye for now.